sun is beaming down again. But look how glorious this patch of wild garlic is looking. And when I left just a week ago, it was just in short bud, and now it is in full flower. And I'm probably going to be harvesting a few of these flowers to garnish my meals across the week. And then in a couple of weeks' time, when the seed heads start to develop, I'll pickle those as well. I've been busy making some apple scrap vinegar at home, and I've got quite a few litres of that. So I think I can spare some for a jar of pickled wild garlic seed heads, which I'm really looking forward to. I've actually got pickled wild garlic buds that I did a month ago, and they are ready now, so I'm going to start enjoying those across this week, I think. The garlic is definitely looking a lot worse for wear than what it usually does. I mean, it still looks pretty glorious when you're looking at it from afar, but I'll bring you closer in a second and you'll be able to see all these little trails that the ducks have made towards the pond. Or I guess it's ducks, it's probably badgers as well. But yeah, they've made all these little trails towards the pond, which is quite funny, and lots of the leaves have been trampled down. But it is still looking pretty damn glorious, isn't it? One of my favourite parts of the allotment site, and just in front of my shed here as well, so when I'm cooking I can just pop out here and grab a few leaves or a few buds or bulbs and put them in my cooking. So it's a really lovely part of the plot, this. So if I zoom you out, you can kind of make these little trails in the garlic all the way towards this pond there, and that's probably a mixture between the ducks and the badgers. So this did all have daffodils and tulips all interspersed, but the daffodils have gone over, and I didn't get too many tulips back this year. Last year and the year before I had a really brilliant display. They don't tend to do too well in this compacted clay soil that I've got down here. But the daffodils looked absolutely gorgeous, but they have all gone over now, so it is starting to get replaced by the dandelion and the cow parsley, which I'm not complaining about because they're just as pretty. And this shrub is all starting to come into flower as well, and that is so gorgeous when it does because it's got these beautiful pink flowers. All of the columbine or the aqualesia, that's all starting to come into flower now, and that is also one of my favourite springtime flowers. I just think they look so cute with their nodding bell-shaped flowers sprinkled amongst the cow parsley. It's really pretty. Just bordering, oh look who it is. Little Stuart. And this elder here just borders the two plots. I have cut it back, so this was a really quite tall elder hedge actually. It was probably about 6 to 7 foot tall. They're basically trees just cut into hedging, but I reduced those just to let a little bit more light in over this side, but still keeping it as a fairly thick hedge. As you can see, these were very old. I get lots of jelly air that grows on this as well. But the elderflower buds are just starting to form here in my plot, and they are already in flower in many other places around the city. But here in this little shaded pocket of my garden, they're just starting to bud up. So let's take a look through to my second plot, which is actually my first plot. This side I've had for coming up to 3 years now, I think, just over 3, or maybe just over 3 years, I can't really remember. I got the plot on this side just around my 30th birthday, and it does look really pretty. It's very sunny over on this side, and it's looking pretty nice. Everything is in blossom at the moment, and it is looking so pretty. The cherry tree behind me is fully in blossom. The plums have already gone over now. They have already starting to form little tiny fruits. It feels absolutely glorious to be back down at the plot, and with such lovely weather too. for the first time today, the sun's actually gone behind a cloud, and it's provided a little bit of respite because that sun has been really, really hot over the past couple of days. It's been about 24, 25 degrees. It's not just been warm, like the sun has actually been very, very strong as well. Stuart the stray's back. I don't know if you can see him, but Stuart's just on the ramp behind me, and it's so lovely to have him back. He was gone for a little while, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later. I've actually got quite a lot to tell you. There's been quite a bit going on over the past 6 months down here. I'll fill you in as we go along. I absolutely love this little walkway through to my other shed. It's just very, very frothy in spring, and we've got this cow parsley and the aqualesia. But I do need to sort out this bed here because I planted quite a few garlic in it, and they are doing well, but they're starting to get a bit shrouded out now by the cleavers and the cow parsley. So I need to get on top of this bed here. And I'm also going to plant my wild carrot seedlings across here as soon as they're big enough to withstand the duck feet, because I'd really, really love this to all be full of wild carrot flowers in the summer. All of the pear tree blossom has gone now, but that looked absolutely stunning last month, and I'll pop in the clip because it really did look pretty. The whole tree was absolutely covered in these lovely white blooms, and this is a pretty stunning tree when it's all in flower. I've got all these other lovely trees that I think could benefit from the light if it just got topped a little bit. So I think I am going to bring that canopy down. I keep saying it every year, but the snow did help me out this year because one of these big branches snapped off. So that did help me out quite a lot. And it was one of the branches that was hanging down here and blocking out quite a lot of light to the shed. So nature kind of did its job for me. So you might remember in my last video, it was at the end of last year, I made Stuart a little bed in here, and he loved it. He was sleeping in here every single night over the winter during the really cold months and the snow. I kitted it out for him with a couple of sleeping bags and a nice new bed, and he really enjoyed it for quite a few months. But then the badgers started coming in, and they came in for quite a few weeks before it started to startle him, I guess. And I'm not too sure what went down, but Stuart evacuated and I didn't see him for about a week, and I was getting really, really worried about him. He eventually came back, but I don't think he sleeps in here anymore. I know he does come down every single day to get his food, and he hangs out with me while I'm down here. Such a lovely cat, but he's quite timid, and I don't think he's brave enough to be roomies with the badgers. So yeah, I'm not sure where he's sleeping, but I don't think it's in there at the moment. Hi, Stuart. Oh, these are getting big. Hi, Stuart. You want some dinner? You got a tooth missing. You got a tooth missing. Yeah, you've got your top left tooth missing, haven't you? Want some din-din? So I actually had to remove the cat food in the tins. You might remember that I had them in tins down here, but I had to remove those because the badgers were just getting in them every single night, and they just took all of the food basically. So they cleared me out, and I ended up moving the tins into the duck pen, so they can't get inside there, which is quite good. And now they just are back inside there, which is not ideal because I like to give the ducks extra run around space in there. But I mean, if it means that their food is safe, then for now that's the best option. But the badgers did cause quite a bit of chaos in here. They tore down all of my shelving that I had. It was this shelving here, and they managed to break into it and steal about 20 eggs they ate over a course of about 1 or 2 nights when I went here. There's still some shell down there, look. But yeah, the badgers ate all of my eggs. But I haven't blocked them out. They can still get in here. But eventually I'm gonna fix this door, get a proper door, and get Stuart a little cat flap, because then he might feel safer in here at night if he knows the badgers aren't going to come in here and try and get him. I don't know what they're doing, but I feel like the badgers have been trying to get on top of this bed because it's got lots of muck on it, and last night I brushed all this off. So I found this bed on the floor quite a few times, so I'm not sure if the badgers are trying to get up and cozy into this and then slipping off. I really, really want to get the trail camera set up again because I'd love to know what's going on in here. This is pretty cool. These really old blocks that have just been sat on the shelf for gosh knows how long, probably coming up to a year now. and I was going to put them in my compost, but I just didn't get around to it, and they're actually all starting to fruit. This one is pretty good. This is ready to harvest actually. I'm pretty stoked with that. Surprise lion's mane. It's so bloody gorgeous outside, and it is, I think, about 6 o'clock. So yeah, summer nights are nigh, and I really can't wait for them. So when I was down at Norfolk last week, all of their spruce trees had the tips growing on them already, and mine are just starting to leaf outlet. Can you see all these little papery cases? These will get bigger and fall off and reveal the bright green spruce tips, and they're pretty delicious on this tree. So the badgers have still firmly made this their home, which is quite cute. I don't know if I'll be able to get you up through the window to have a look, but the badgers just live, or they sleep, just down by that little fireplace down there. I'll take you in a second. But they still live in there, which is quite cute. It's looking beautiful here at the moment, isn't it? Over here is just a big bed of forget-me-nots, but they are gorgeous. And I recently planted out some peas and some sugar snaps on the other side. All of my peas are starting to climb up this little trellis that I put together the other day, and these peas have been living happily in that polytunnel for a good few weeks now. I planted them quite late really, but they've shot up pretty quickly, and they've reached halfway up this already, so they're doing pretty well. The ducks have been really enjoying the disturbed soil. I only planted these peas out yesterday, so I'm giving them a helping hand by just popping their tendrils against the trellis so they can catch hold a little easier. But I'm really looking forward to quite a good crop from these, and the ducks have left them alone so far, which has been quite nice. They don't seem too bothered. I was quite worried because they do tend to like those young leafy veg. They love lettuce, but they don't seem to be too fussed by the pea shoots. Ducks are chilling down there just next to my peas, and they're actually sat in my new little beetroot seedling row that I made. They dislodged loads of the seedlings and I had to plant them back, but they seem to be still in the soil, but they're just getting sat on right now. Hi Stuart. Gosh, I really don't want to pull up any of these forget-me-nots, but I really need to start making this bed available for some plants that I've got in the greenhouse. And I've been sowing quite a bit over the past few months. I've not seen you on the allotment site, I think, for about 6 months, or at least I haven't given you a proper tour in about 6 months since winter. I've been away for a week at my retreats in Norfolk, and we had such a lovely couple of groups of guests. We had 2 retreats across the week, and the first was a quad skate camp and the second was a wellness, like a wild wellness weekend. And it's really lovely. We had such great weather, but I did miss these little duckies, so it's awesome to be back here with them. I don't know if you remember in my last video, but I didn't know if the garlic was going to come up or not, and I thought the ducks had ripped it out and I wasn't too sure, but look, every single one of them has come up, which is really lovely. Got a few elephant garlic over in this side here that was really late planted, but it's coming up nice. I've planted out quite a few broad beans all along this bed, and the wire is up just because the ducks come in and trample them all. So I did let them in for the first day and they snapped a couple off. So I've put this little fencing up just to stop the little fat duck feet trampling all the plants and eating the lettuce actually. I popped some lettuce in there this morning. But these should be quite nice. I need to still put in a little bit more support. I'm going to pop some canes in and then string them up as well. But at the moment, while they're quite short, this will be fine. And in the polytunnel actually, if we go in, I hope the ducks aren't eating my... No, they're being good. Hi guys. So in the polytunnel, I've got quite a few broad beans there, and I just haven't gotten around to planting them out yet. They could do with coming out, to be honest. Flowers are all starting to form on here, and it might be a little bit early for the size of them, to be honest, so I think that's just because of the heat in here. So so these do need to come out as soon as possible. My sunflowers are looking quite good at the back there, and also I've got a big tray of cosmos. And down here is just an array of different types of flowers. We've got some nasturtium and some nicotiana, some clarkias and some dahlias and catnips, and lots of different lettuces and some more sunflowers as well. These will need pricking out and potting on as soon as possible. But first up, priority is really getting these broad beans planted out in the garden, because yeah, they have been in here a little bit too long now. You guys okay down there? You getting my slugs? So over the winter I cleared out all of this space beside my polytunnel. So this was full of raspberries. I never took you over here because there was nothing really to look at. It was just kind of full of brambles and raspberry canes that were overgrown. But it was starting to encroach on the polytunnel. So I've cleared all this area out now, and you can see my worm bin again. That's been there the whole time, but I just couldn't really get to it to show you. But this is my sub pod, which is my wormery. And I plant lots of different vegetables in the back of the bed here, and it just benefits from all of that worm juice that kind of leaks out of that sub pod box. But then I use all of the compost as potting material, and it's really awesome. And there's another compost bin over there, but all of this is kind of just junk really. There's a big old bucket of slate and some broken pots, yeah, and lots of buddleia and brambles that desperately need cutting down from the front of my greenhouse, because if it's anything like last year, these will get overgrown and block out quite a bit of light. Where are you guys off to? Eh? Are you going to the mealworm bag? We come inside the shed and just shut the door so you can see with the light. But you'll be able to see where the badger sleeps. Can you see that big old indentation in the straw? Now this was a big bale of hay that the badgers have pulled down and made a little nest. And sometimes there's a big nest and then a smaller one. And I do not know if they have a little tiny badger cub or something, or if there's two of them sleeping in here now as opposed to the one. But yeah, it's dead cute. I started recording them in here, and there was one badger that was just sleeping in here for a few hours every night. There's one of them who seems to sleep in here, that I've caught on camera anyway, but two of them eat food out of the other shed. But like I say, there has been two holes or two indentations in the straw over the past maybe week, so I don't know if they're both sleeping in here now, but it's quite funny. I've had to start locking this because they were ripping up my strawberries from my bed in here. But my greenhouse is a little bit of a mess, but we've got quite a bit growing. Some more sunflowers, some courgettes, cucumbers, some sweet peas, some chives and sea lavender, more sunflowers, and loads of courgettes and different types of squash along there. In these trays I've got some tomatoes and some more sunflowers, lots of cosmos that are actually really leggy. I'll probably re-sow these. A bunch of sweet peas, more sunflowers. It's a bit late harvesting my cress, but that'll still be good. Nice and peppery at this stage. These are too leggy now. I'll chop these off and add them to Chris's salad bag as microgreens, then re-sow these.